Humanity's own undoing is not the powers that shouldn't be, not the so-called authority figures, that a lot of people give their power away to anyway. It's humanity itself. They're their own undoing. What I mean by that is that they easily fall back into willing ignorance, cowardice, fear, and cognitive dissonance. Because when they are told that this is going on, that actually is beyond what they will expect, that's bad, then they will shut down quickly. They will go into denial and ridicule mode, or actually will accuse you of fear-mongering in all this. And then the reason why I'm talking about this now, because it reminded me of two instances I'm going to address here that actually motivated me to actually talk about this. It just tells you that even if you have hard evidence of something going on that an authority figure or whatever is doing behind your back, then they're going to still find a way to deny it. Come up with excuses or ways to justify their sense of denial. Yes, because a lot of people have this solipsistic attitude about how they think they can just ignore the negative in reality and pretend it doesn't exist, or how some people out there will try to not physically, but verbally attack you and insult you just because of the fact that you're trying to tell these people what is up. You're trying to help people out. You're the one that's trying to actually help others who are suffering and to help empower them so they know what's going on. It's not about fear-mongering when you're told something that's uncomfortable, told something that the mainstream media will never tell you. It is not fear-mongering, people. People need to stop seeing that as fear-mongering. But a lot of people see it as fear-mongering because of the fact that they don't know the difference between something that's true but negative or something that's just plain there to make you scared. And it's not to make you scared. The reason why you're scared is because of the fact that you don't know what to do. And the fact that you think you're powerless to make a change. That's bullshit. You're definitely not powerless to make a change. You need to stop believing in that. It's a limiting belief. It's a false belief given to you by the circumstances that you've been through in your life and by this religion called authority that you buy into, which has no basis in nature, and that's illusionary. And it's very illusionary because a lot of people don't even have to actually listen to these people or take their bullshit that claim to be authority. The only reason why it seems to be real is because of the fact that people give the power away to them, to these authorities. And the fact that, like I said, it requires your belief. All it takes is belief, because belief is what can manifest something into something being real. It's that simple. I'm just really, really fed up with the fact that many people want to think that all you have to do is just tune out. People have been conditioned to believing just all you have to think, believing that if something is uncomfortable or negative, all you have to do is just tune it out. Because of the fact that we live in such a, I'm gonna be blunt here. We live in such a fucked up reality that most people have been conditioned since childhood into tuning things out that they don't like. It's very unhealthy. And the fact that people have actually adopted this habit, and it's because of the fact that we live in a very broken society where, you have parents who don't raise their kids properly, especially raise them, have a good don't give them good emotional development. That's why they have very unhealthy ways of dealing with emotions, or especially negative emotions. Not understanding that there's ways of dealing with certain negative emotions. If you're feeling a negative emotion, you gotta ask, why do you feel that negative emotion? I mean, is it because of the fact that something external bothering you, or something that, is it something bothering you externally? If that's the case, so what can I do about it versus shutting down thinking I can't do anything about it? There's always a way of dealing with the problem. There's always some kind of way. You may not be able to deal with it immediately, but in the long term, you'll be able to deal with it. You have to be persistent when it comes to that. And that's the reason why, statistically, I think, I could be wrong, that deaths related to alcohol, I think, actually have risen. I'm not sure if it was alcohol or drugs. I don't remember. But over the last few years, because of the fact that this reality is becoming more brazen. The negative aspects of this reality. A lot of people want to ignore it because of the fact there's so many distractions people get lost in. That's why a lot of people are not even aware there's anything negative going on. Among the fact that most people live in a bubble. That's what it also is all about as well. A lot of people, it's very easy just to escape Very easy to escape into drugs. Very easy to escape to alcohol. Very easy to escape into I don't know, all these things out here. These escapisms. That's the problem I have with this whole thing, and that's the reason why people can tune out. For example, let's talk about the real again. I need to hammer this home because I cannot talk about it more than enough. The reality of geoengineering and the whole chemtrail phenomenon. Now, a lot of people want to tune. A lot of people have been conditioned to thinking this is normal because of the fact that the media has actually posted. I've actually posted photos, pictures of this stuff phenomenon going on. In the skies, trying to normalize it. They're thinking if authority is posting this, if normal people in the mainstream are posting these pictures as if it's nothing, then we have nothing to worry about, right? No, it's a form of conditioning. But a lot of people fail to see that. That's why when you talk to people about this stuff, they laugh at you, they ridicule you. It's just ridiculous. Someone showed photos of what it was like inside these spraying planes. I mean, it was additional photos. It was additional photos. I think it was on inside.com, in5d.com. I mean, hey, we all don't. Hey, I understand. I don't agree with all the stuff that's posted there too, but there's still good stuff there. I mean, that website's sort of like a depository of information. I mean, of course, you're not going to accept everything on a website, so that's not the point. But what I'm trying to say is, there's actually photos, additional photos. I don't remember the name. It was somewhere in there. It was additional photos of blatantly what was going on in these planes. You literally see spraying going on in the atmosphere in these planes. Those were not contrails. You saw the nozzle spraying these aerosols out. You saw the interior of these planes. These are new photos that popped up. And a lot of people want to try to. It's weird because some of the people on the website try to question this because of the fact they literally are scared by what they saw. And one idiot thought they're photoshopped. Oh, really? One person thought it was fear mongering. I'm thinking, are you serious? I mean, if you are on the Inside D website, you should be aware enough to know what's going on. But no, most people are just a bunch of ignorant fools who see this attitude of denying all this stuff that's going on. There's so many things pointing to the fact that geoengineering is real. Lab test, rainwater test, all these things, and the fact that people living in these areas, if you talk to them, there's people out there who see the fallout, see what is going on, and see the fallout. People want to deny it. A lot of people laugh at it. They're laughing deep down. Most of these people's laughing deep down is actually fear and cowardice. Because ultimately, let me tell you something. The reason why why evil's getting away with what they're getting with it, you wonder why evil always triumphs, why evil always wins, why evil never gets theirs. I tell you why, because of the fact that people's cowardice, willing ignorance, and fear is what is allowing evil to continue. Because most people want to live in a bubble. They want to believe that this is not happening. They want to live in this state of denial and cognitive dissonance. They want to have this solipsistic attitude of reality where they're thinking, look, it's not happening in my reality, so I don't know what you're talking about. That attitude. And people need to get out of that mindset. Because in fact, most people, like I said, want to only care about themselves. They don't want to speak out. A lot of people deep down know that this is going on. A lot of people know that this is going on, but they want to deny it. They're thinking, hey, Hollywood is showing it in their movies. These spray planes in these movies, you see photos of these chemtrails in the sky being sprayed above their heads. They're thinking, hey, it's normal. We see it in photos and stuff, so therefore it has to be normal, right? No, because people will cling on to that, to what the authorities will tell them. That's how the authorities can easily lie to the public. I mean, all you have to say is that, okay, we're not doing it. And people will say, okay, yes, sir, you're not doing it? All right, you're not doing it. So these guys out there are just a bunch of conspiracy clowns. No, that's not true. Because these people are too scared to look into themselves, too scared to investigate. It's funny how every single person who denies what's going on won't go out and do the investigation and research themselves. They won't test rainwater. They won't do this. They just won't look into it deeply because they're too afraid. They want to rely on what someone else tells them and say, okay, that person says this. This is not going on, so therefore, okay. And the geoengineering slash chemtrail phenomenon is just only an example of many of the things that's going on in this society that the so-called authorities are doing, because the rabbit hole, because it's a lot deeper than that. It gets worse. And there's things I can talk to you about right here, but you wouldn't believe me unless you actually find out for yourself. You literally wouldn't believe me if I actually try to explain to you stuff that's worse that's going on. But like I said, hold on. This is only going to continue. All these bad things that are going on, all these things that are going on, the reason why they're going on is because of the fact that a small group of people, along with their order followers, are allowed to get away with it because of the fact that people are too cowardly to stand up and say no. That is what it comes down to. People's cowardice and their selfish sense of comfort. And humanity, as a result, is pathetic as a collective. I'm not talking about the people who are doing something. They're excluded from this, but everybody else is pathetic. And I'm not even trying to feel bad or sympathy for them because of the fact that at one point I was in denial. Well, my denial wasn't as bad because of the fact that I always had a natural sense of curiosity. I mean, I only denied things because of the fact that these facts to me just seem so out of nowhere and just kind of come off as shady because of the fact that many people are really inconsistent about the things they tell me. You know, in the so-called, when it comes to so-called conspiracy theory, there's so many inconsistencies, and it seems like a lot of people who wrote this stuff were just a bunch of crazy right-wing, racist, fascist types. You know, that's what I thought all of them were like that. You know, until I realized no, that's not the case. A lot of people who talk about so-called conspiracy theory are some of the most intelligent people out there. They're a lot more saner, and they're a lot more saner than a lot of the people out in the general population. They're a lot more down to earth and more real, on average. I'm talking about these people on average. Not all, but the many of the ones I've met and come across are a lot more saner and a lot more down to earth. And that's all I have to say, compared to the general population, where a lot of people, or a lot of these people who think they're smart and who claim to be really intellectual and all that, they're insane people. You know, they think their intellect actually makes them something, but they have nothing because of the fact they lack common sense and they lack heart-based intuitive intelligence. They have brain, but they have no heart, which is why they're probably at the same time a lot of they're also a bunch of, I don't know what I was going to say, but like I said, all brain, no heart. Ultimately, what it comes down to is when the question is, when's humanity going to stand up and stop letting their cowardice, stop letting their fear get to them? That fear is born out of the fact they think they're powerless to make a change because they think that these external forces control them or actually control the fate of this planet. That's not true. That's a limiting belief, and that's a lie. Probably one of the biggest lies out there to believe. You have the power to make that change. You ask, what should I do? Well, how about you actually find out? How about you do some research? How about you start thinking? Learn how to meditate and learn how to meditate. Learn how to introspect. Most people don't do that. There's people in their lives who probably never reflected once. Quietly reflected because of the fact they're too scared to do it. They're too scared to see because of the fact that the longer you do it, the longer you do it, the more you start to realize reality is a certain way. And that's scary to many people because of the fact that people have bought into the artificial overlay that is on us. The fact that all these artificial things, these distractions. I always say that these people need to go out into nature more or something. Need to get away from the city life or whatever for a little while, or go into nature at least. And then quietly meditate or just be with yourself for a while. Quietly. And just think and introspect. A lot of people don't do this. That's why they don't suspect anything's going on, or that's their way of actually trying to avoid the reality, this insane reality. That's why I always say that humanity, most people are most afraid of themselves because they know deep down that there's a lot of things about themselves that they cannot confront. They're scared of it. That's called the shadow or the shadow self. And I always talk about how people need to confront the shadow from within. The worst aspects of yourself, the parts of yourself, the unconscious parts of yourself that's been programmed by this external reality. and by the things you have been fed to, that's been fed to you by so-called authorities in government, education, media, so forth. As they say, the only reason why the world is the way it is not because of evil people, it's because of the fact that good people choose to do nothing. You can keep denying all the things that you wouldn't expect your dear leaders to do to you all you want, but it's only going to make it worse in the long run. You might have that temporary comfort. The ignorance might be bliss for a little while, but historically it has always led to tragedy. It always has led to destruction, which is happening right now. If you are paying attention to what's going on, most people don't know what's going on because of the fact they live in a bubble or they live in a small area. And they haven't seen the rest of the world and what's going on. Most people choose not to because of the fact that they think they can just keep escaping forever. A lot of people need to understand that the purpose of life is not just to survive. And I think that's the biggest problem. A lot of people have a materialistic attitude towards life, and it actually encourages them to think and behave and act this way. They think, look, if I run away from all these bad things, not acknowledge it, not deal with it, then I'm okay. I think that's the biggest problem, not understanding that it's a lot more grand than that. That's all I have to say about the topic right now. I might talk about this more later on, but for now, people need to understand that your cowardice, your cognitive dissonance, your denial is not going to cut it. You need to learn how to critically think for yourself and critically question what it is. And I also want to say again that this reality is so insane, so bad. Most people want to deny it. A lot of people try to hide behind, this new age attitude, this new age bullshit of a bullshit notion of positive thinking, which involves ignoring the negative or ignoring negative thinking. They think that if I'm positive all the time, I only look to do just the positive and everything's going to be okay. Which is the reason why the negative has been growing, because of the fact that you don't pay attention to the negative. So because if you pay attention to the negative, you'll be more likely to put that down. And most people don't want to put it down because they're too scared to do it. They think, look, if I just look at the positive in my bubble, I'm all good. That's the reason why people buy into these things, because of the fact that they know subconsciously deep down there's something fucked up about this reality, something wrong about it. They don't, but they don't want to confront it because it's so scary, so overwhelming. Not understanding that it doesn't matter. I actually deep down constantly feel that it's all overwhelming, but I don't give a shit. I go and take care of the problem, no matter how daunting it is. That's just me, though. But we need more people like that in this world. But unfortunately, there's not enough people like that in this world, and a lot of people don't care. I'm telling you, people, this is very serious. You have to stop thinking like this. Stop just trying to run away and escape. Stop trying to buy into distractions. This reality isn't going to get better with that attitude. It's only going to get worse. And the reason why it has gotten this bad in the first place is the fact that people have chose to ignore the bad in the first place from the beginning. This is what happens when you only look just the positive. We live in a dualistic reality, in this free will zone where there's going to be bad. So you're going to have to pay attention to that bad and keep it in check, so it doesn't overshadow the positive, which it has done. I'm telling you, people need to get their shit together because this is serious. But no, many people just want to play the denial game. They want to ridicule people like me. They want to actually try to insult people like me and all this stuff, because they somehow think that it's going to make it all better. To all those people out there who do these things to people like me and others, all I have to say is that you are the bane of the whole human race. You're the bane of everybody. Each person who has come across information like this and refused to look into it because of the fact you think it's too scary or fear-mongering, you are no better than the general populace. You're no better than all those ignorant clowns out there. And I'm just trying to be honest here. I'm not here to sugarcoat things. I'm not here to make friends. I'm not here to make you feel good. It's not about feeling good. It's about doing what is right in the face of evil, in the face of intimidating and tyranny. That's what it's about. And that's something you better know. Because this is not a game. This is some serious shit. And we need to get it together, people. I have a lot of fears. I had a lot of problems. I had a lot of trouble doing this already. Right? Putting a blog together. Doing these videos. It took me a lot to get out of that fear. This fear. You know, this, it's not really fear, actually. You know what it really is the fact that I have to put up with people out there who are going to criticize me, think I'm wrong, all these things. It's more to do with the fact that I have to put up with these people, and I don't like putting up with people who actually give me shit. I don't really think it's more so fear anymore. You know, it's not even that anymore. It's more like I said, it's just the fact that I have to deal with people who are negative towards my work. You know, and in real life, usually when I deal with these people, I usually tell these people to just fuck off. But I can't really do that on the internet the same way you can do it in real life. You know, so that's what I have to get over. I mean, you act like this is easy for me to do. It's not easy. And I think it not saying the words not easy is an understatement. It takes me a lot of courage to do this, especially introverted like individual like myself. So it makes it even harder. I'm a writer anyway. I'm not much of a speaker as it is. So far. So think about that for a second. Just think about it. If I can do it, then everyone can do it. But unfortunately, a lot of people have, like I said, the human race is a traumatized race. And unfortunately, what many people need to do first is to work on themselves a little bit and then get over their traumas. You know, that's one thing they have to do first. They may not be able to go out and do this out the gate, but what you should do at least is to work on your mental traumas and all the fears that are built into you that came from childhood or whatever, or past lives, whatever. You know, because a lot of people have soul memories from their past lives. If you go look into past life regression, and the fact that they realize that old issues from these past lives are affecting them today, and they're only able to get over it by acknowledging that and healing it. I have to point that out. It's all because of the fact that we have so much trauma in our soul, and we need to clear it. Ultimately, that's the reason. Like I said, human race is so traumatized. That's the reason why they respond to fear. To fear or the fearful situations or scary situations the way they do. That's the reason why they respond like this. That's the reason why they act and behave like this. I get that, but it doesn't mean I'm not going to be hard on people for that. You know why I'm hard on people? Because of the fact that I got over it. And I even acknowledged in the past I was one of these idiots. Because I was an idiot in the past. I'm not afraid to call myself an idiot. Now, I'm not afraid to say I'm wrong about something in life. I don't, because of the fact that I don't have a false sense of ego like many people do. If I'm wrong about something, I'm wrong about something. If I was a dumbass about something, I would say I was a dumbass. Straight up. I'm not afraid to call myself a dumbass if I actually am, if I did something stupid. I'm not afraid. You know, I don't look down on myself. I just have a very humble way of looking at myself. That's simple. I don't say I was a dumbass because of the fact that I think I'm a dumbass. No, it has nothing to do with that. So come on, people. Let's do this. Really.